Good morning, guys. Welcome back aboard good old Athena. You join us here in Southwest Ireland on a grey, rainy and windy day. We're on a mooring ball just east of Heir Island. Tomorrow looks more promising for going ashore and checking out the island. It shouldn't rain as much tomorrow. As far as today, well, why don't we give you guys a short glimpse into everyday life as full-time cruisers here aboard Athena. My name is Mess, this is my wife Ava. I've spent the last 5 years on a somewhat extensive refit of our 1987 Warrior 38 named Athena. That was a DIY fun-packed adventure complete with a very extensive osmosis treatment, building a new rudder using vacuum infusion, rebuilding the entire deck, gutting and subsequently rebuilding most of the interior, painting the topsides, and a ton of other projects. The summer of 2021, we started cruising full-time. Now, we're finally ready to begin our adventure.
Usually wake up around 6:30 or 7 depending, and the first thing I like to do is make a cup of tea. I just heat the water on the stove top here, but first I gotta check the battery. We have 34% charge. I do not think that is enough for me to make a cup of tea, and definitely on a rainy day like this, I think we're gonna have to run the generator.
We have a decent sized lithium battery bank here aboard Athena, so with a state of charge of 34%, we still have plenty of energy left in the battery. But our Victron inverter is set up to cut off any AC loads at, I think it's 30 or 31% state of charge. Even with 2000 watts worth of solar on rainy days like today, we get basically nothing. So yeah, like Ava said, we'll have to run the genset to charge the battery and for her to be able to make her tea. Now that we're charging, we can continue Operation Cup of Tea.
I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit rolly today. And that's when the gimbaled stovetop is really nice to have, especially when we're sailing. I usually take our silicone dish drying mat and put it on top of here, and it's just a really nice big surface where we can put things and not have to worry about them rolling off. I used to be a big coffee drinker, but this summer in Denmark I switched over to tea as like a little caffeine experience. And then when we were in the UK, I was drinking PG Tips. And then everybody was like, why are you drinking PG Tips? You need to try Yorkshire. So that's what I'm drinking now. And I have to tell you, I think I like PG Tips better. This is the Yorkshire, I'm not sure. But I don't know, the PG Tips, it's just like when you steep it, it's just like this dark black color, and I don't know if it just reminds me of coffee, but it just like it hits different. And the Yorkshire, it's good, it's just like you don't get that like grit in the morning that I'm looking for. This is one of the reasons why I really wanted an enclosure, so we could come out here even when it's raining. It's just really nice to be able to get out of the boat a little bit, and it's a really nice place to be able to sit and look at the scenery and enjoy my cup of tea. And a little fun fact, Mads is one of those crazy, strange people who do not drink any coffee or any tea. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, Ava, look, there's blue skies behind you. Hurry, get in the dinghy, go to shore. But please, do not let Ireland fool you. 1 minute there'll be nice, beautiful skies, and then the next it'll be dark and stormy and rainy. So you just gotta wait out the blue skies a little bit just to be sure before you go out.
On the off chance that the weather forecast was wrong and we're actually going to get a bit of sun today, I think we better turn off the genset. We can always fire it up later, but if we're going to be getting any kind of energy from the sun, well, then that is free, so we'd much rather have that.
On days we aren't going to shore and getting a walk in, I still like to move a little bit, so Athena turns into a home gym. With just one yoga mat cut in half, precisely placed in this little walkway area, we have a workout area. And the only thing I have to worry about is not kicking Mads while he's on the computer.
Yeah, my workout is a little bit more stationary and finger-oriented compared to Ava's.
Let's lift some iron! 5 kilogram iron!
For those worried about us adding the weight of a washing machine, also consider the fact that we have a full set of weights for Ava. It also adds a bit of weight to the boat.
workout done. Now it's time to clean up and make some breakfast. At night, we usually put the table down like this so we can watch TV. And then we put this cushion on top of the table. This is just from the bench in the forward cabin, and it fits on the table perfectly. This is just like a kitchen cabinet liner. We usually put it on top of here so the cushion doesn't slide around. And then just gotta pop open the base and up goes the table. You want oatmeal today?
Yes, please.
Got it. Uh-oh, are we out of blueberries? Nope, we have some.
Bam! Blueberry oatmeal. The blueberries are from the freezer, not fresh, but they're still very good. This is the perfect breakfast for a rainy day and a stable here aboard Athena. While we were having breakfast, I've been running our hydronic diesel heater, not because it's cold, but because we'd like to have hot showers. We have two different ways of heating water for hot showers. That's either using electricity or using our hydronic diesel heater. And seeing as we don't have a lot of sun today, well, electricity is not the best option. If we simply just turn on the hydronic diesel heater and turn the thermostat down so that the heat exchangers here inside of the boat don't have their fans running, well then all the hydronic diesel heater will do is to heat the water in the hot water tank. Let's see if we have hot water. Yep, that is steaming hot.
Okay, see you in a couple hours.
I really hope she's kidding because we only have 33% left in the tank, so fingers crossed there's water left over for me.
Now we're both fed and showered. Now it's time to get some work done.
Yep, to the confusers.
And before I forget, because I always forget, I have to get some chicken out of the freezer for dinner tonight. It's dinner time and we are pretty hungry right now, and I've been wanting to make something with the local honey that someone brought us when we were sick. So I'm going to make a garlic honey chicken and hopefully it's really good. Another thing I have really come to love about the freezer is frozen vegetables. I didn't eat a lot of frozen vegetables before, no reason, I just didn't. And now it's just so convenient, especially since we haven't been to the grocery store in a while. We don't have fresh vegetables, but we have frozen ones and it's awesome. The sauce for the chicken is really simple and we had all the ingredients, so it was perfect. It's just some honey, garlic, a little bit of sriracha, lemon juice, and chicken broth. In the oven they go. I coated the chicken in flour and then browned it on the pan, and now I'm just gonna put it back in the pan and add our sauce to it. And voila, dinner is done. Just another typical dinner aboard Athena. Well, it turns out that today might be just as rainy as yesterday, but you know, the weather changes so quick here, it might end up being a beautiful day today.
And maybe later today we'll take the boat over to Baltimore, but first let's check out Heir Island. Heir Island is 2.5 kilometers long and 1.5 kilometers wide. In its heyday, around 400 people lived on the island, making a living, farming or fishing. Today, tourism seems to be the main industry on the island, but only 25 to 30 people live there year-round today.
Funny thing about Heir Island is on all the maps we've seen, it's spelt H-A-R-E, but on like all the websites in the local places, it's spelled H-E-I-R.
But I actually think I found the explanation for that earlier
really?
today. Yeah, and the way it's spelled on Navionics, for instance, is a misspell. It's it's something that started in the 60s or something like that. So I think the right way of spelling it is the H-E-I whatever way.
H-E-I-R? Oh.
We're going to walk the entire length of Heir Island, all 2.5 kilometers. At the western end of the island, there are some cliffs where we might see some birds. And on the way there, we're going to pass through Paris.
These flowers are so cool. We've been seeing them all over Ireland, but I can't find out what they're called. I have to take a picture today so I can ask somebody, but I love them. They look like little aliens.
We're coming into Paris. Now, this is not the Paris with the Eiffel Tower, it's slightly smaller. It used to be the most populated part of the island. There are still quite a few houses here, and this also used to be the center of the fishing that went on here.
Welcome to Paris.
We've made it to the most western part of Heir Island. This is where there's supposed to be some bird cliffs. And if you look here behind me, there is Clear Island.
Yep, and you also might be able to just make out Fastnet Rock, which is known for many things, amongst being the furthest, most west point of Ireland. Looks like I found the feeding place for all the birds. There's a bunch of crab shells scattered all over here. And I'll tell you, it looks like they've been eating pretty good.
I was hoping for a little bit more bird action here today, but it seems to be pretty dead.
Yeah, but it's still beautiful here. The cliffs are stunning, but also terrifying, but it's a beautiful place to come. It's a little jaggedy around here, but there's these little pools of water tucked in between all the rocks. It's starting to rain just a little bit, but we're gonna head back up the hill and try another little path. We don't know what's there, but we're gonna go check it out. This path led to the other side of the mountains where we just were at, and it's low tide right now, but I can only imagine when the tide is up and there's southwesterly winds, the waves are probably just crashing against these mountains and just destroying everything in their path. Also, I can't believe I haven't lost my hat yet and it hasn't flown off my head.
It is pretty cool that right now we are in this wind-swept rugged landscape here in Ireland, and in 6 months we're probably going to be in crystal blue water and palm trees.
How do you feel about that, Boo?
Well, I'm not looking forward to sweating.
Yeah, but you'll be a beach bronzed babe.
Never. If we had come here to Heir Island before COVID, there would have been a little bit more going on here. I think there was one permanent restaurant and one pop-up restaurant. There was some kind of bakery also. There's still some stuff going on here today though.
Yeah, like right behind us there is a sailing school, and we think those dinghies are from the sailing school.
After our trip to Heir Island, we decided to move Athena to Baltimore. We slipped the mooring line and motored for all of 10 minutes to a mooring ball right next to town. Our plan is to leave Ireland tomorrow to go to France. The sea state out there might be too rough for us, so we may have to divert. But in either case, today is our last chance to stretch our legs here in Ireland. When we got into Baltimore last week, we passed by the Baltimore Beacon. The beacon, which you just might barely be able to make out there behind me, dates in its current form back to the late 1840s, and the view from up there is supposed to be magnificent.
It's a little bit choppy out here today, but I think Mads purposely goes into the waves so I get splashed. See, everybody thinks he's so sweet and innocent, but you don't see the real mess. I'm just kidding. He's a sweet baby angel. That's probably like the most sinister thing he's ever done to me. But you do seem to be enjoying it a little too much.
Well, you know, everybody has a little bit of evil in them. The Irish version of Baltimore is a fair bit smaller than the US version. The town is centered around the harbor where the ferries connect to the surrounding islands. In the center of town there are a couple of restaurants and a small convenience store with just the bare essentials. And that is all there is to downtown Baltimore.
Back on Hare Island, I pointed out these flowers that I really like, and I asked in town, and they're called fuchsia. They're actually not native to Ireland, but they are very common in this part of Cork.
It's about a 30-minute walk from the center of town to the beacon. We're a little bit over halfway there. Now, if you guys recall from our last couple of videos aboard Athena, we've got a little bit of an FF, a fern fetish. And quite surprisingly, this place is basically wall-to-wall ferns.
It's definitely more impressive up close. When we were coming in, it looked smooth from far away, and we thought it was just a piece of art that they had put up. But then we later found out that it's been here for almost 200 years. It definitely feels like a beacon. I can't pinpoint what I even mean by that, but I feel like if I were to make a beacon, that's exactly what it would look like.
And you definitely don't want to get too close to the edge here. It's quite a steep step. It sure as heck is windy up here, but here behind me is Shirkin Island. After that is Clear Island. And then after that is the US. There's nothing other than those two islands standing between us and the US, 2,500 nautical miles that way. I definitely don't think we could have asked for a more scenic view as a goodbye to Ireland. Yeah. It is magnificent up here. Ava and I have had a blast here in Ireland. It's been awesome. Well, just maybe not the COVID part, but other than that, it's been great. But tomorrow it is time for us to leave Ireland and start heading south to France. That is a 300 nautical mile passage. In terms of weather, when it comes to wind, we're looking pretty good. But there is still some residual sea state out there from all the weather that's been blowing through over the last couple of days. So yeah, fingers crossed this is not going to be too uncomfortable. And by that, of course, I mean mainly fingers crossed for no fish feeding. And on that hopeful note, we'll end this week's video here. We hope to see all of you guys back here aboard Athena next week for some offshore sailing fun. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video,
please remember to leave a like.
See you!